Hello and welcome. My name is Richard, and you're listening to Hurry, the Movie is Starting podcast. And today we're going to be pre-gaming the movie Mickey17, that's slated to release on March 7th, directed by Bong Joon-Ho. But first, a word from our sponsors. Brought to you by the card holders. Have you ever wanted to buy a greeting card and also wanted to get a gift card, but you're like, man, that's so much work. I got to buy a card over here. Then I got to walk all the way over here and get a gift card. Then I got to try and figure out which kind of gift card is going to work perfect for this person. And then I got to give them the card with the gift card just flopping around, flying all over the place. Oh, that's classic lame-o. Now with the card holder, you can get a card with a built-in spot inside. And don't worry, if you don't like going out in public, because let's be honest, going out in public these days is sometimes frightening. You can do all in one spot at the card holders on the Etsy store. In the link below, you can get a gift card. You can get a greeting card. You can get a spot in your greeting card built in for your gift card, so that when your person gets it, they shake it. They're like, oh, there's nothing in here. Dang, that sucks. They open it up. Boom! Gift card hidden inside. Wow! Brought to you by the card holders. All right, so Mickey17 is about a disposable employee who is sent on a human expedition to colonize the ice world of Niflheim. After one iteration dies, a new body is regenerated with most of his memories intact. This movie is directed by Bong Joon-Ho, who you might also know from the movie Parasite. He's also done the movie Snowpiercer, which I don't know if you all have seen the conspiracy theory about how that's a Charlie and Chocolate Factory sequel. Highly recommend that. It's just very thought-provoking, very wacky and crazy that two movies that you didn't think would like connect that kind of do a little bit. Okja, and the movie Okja as well. He's a South Korean filmmaker characterized by emphasis on social themes, genre mixing, black humor, and sudden theme shifts. With that being said, my prediction on this movie, I just thought about it. I'm like, it's going to be better if I put the prediction in the front. That way I can just dive into what I think this movie is going to be about right away. Based on what we know about Bong Joon-Ho's style, delving into social themes, I predict this movie is going to illustrate us, the working class. Us, the people who wake up and dive straight into work as a means of survival. Us who have to go to work every day, the job that we don't like or the job that we can tolerate, but sometimes we just feel like a number. The plot to me dictates the role of Mickey as an expendable used to colonize or establish political control over this new world, Niflheim. Isn't that an exaggerated concept of what we do? Think about it. Go to work for a company that sometimes, and I say sometimes because, I thankfully have been blessed to have a great job lately where I don't feel like just a number, and I feel like the people in charge actually care about me, and that's a superpower, to be cared about by your higher ups. That's pretty rare. But when I worked at Disney, I felt extraordinarily expendable, and I'm not saying this to get hate on Disney or to complain about a job that I used to work at. That's just how I felt at that moment. I'm just trying to illustrate that I believe this movie is going to be about that, where sometimes you're often just used as a means to get ahead, and no matter how much or what you sacrifice, we're always expendable by another number behind us. That's what I think this movie is going to be about. I think that's going to be like the underlying theme of this movie, but that's just my prediction. The cast in this movie features Robert Pattinson as Mickey, which dude has just evolved into this superior actor that just we first saw him on Twilight, then we saw him play Batman, which was wild to me. Never thought I would see Robert Pattinson as Batman, but hey, it worked out. And now he comes into this movie. I think he's gonna do well. I do think he's gonna do well. We also have Steven Yeun, who you might also know as Glenn from The Walking Dead. He's also done a lot of other stuff, but I mean he started off as Glenn. Michael Monroe, Patsy Farron, Toni Collette, who is in Hereditary, is an amazing actress, and she also very underrated role in Little Miss Sunshine. And Mark Ruffalo. Yeah, I don't even need it. It's Mark Ruffalo. With that being said, let's dive into the fun facts. This is an adaptation of Edward Ashton's novel, Mickey 7. But Bong Joon-Ho cited a major difference between the book and this movie is that Mickey 17 has an error that makes him more erratic and have an increased libido. So I'm probably going to be a lot of sex scenes in this one. Parents, close the eyes of your kids. Sean Bean, who you might also know as Ned Stark or Boromir, was originally considered for the role of Mickey before it was given to Robert Pattinson. Okay, I like Sean Bean, and I feel like he's known for like dying too soon in movies. But I feel like the role, if he was given this role, it would have just taken away from the character. And that's nothing negative against Sean Bean. Like, the reason he's killed off too soon, like we feel like too soon, is because he's a great actor and we want to see more of him. But then he's like immediately beheaded. Oh yeah, or shot by multiple arrows. Yeah, but anyways, I think it would have taken away from the movie. And I think Robert Pattinson is a great choice for Mickey17. He's just been killing it lately, so I think this is just a fun one. Sean Bean would have been funny, but I think Robert Pattinson creates the character a little bit more. This is Bong Joon-Ho's first film after the Oscar-winning movie Parasite, which, if you haven't seen it, highly recommend. It is a subtitle movie because it is in Korean, I believe. Highly recommend it. It is one of those movies that just exceeded all of my expectations, and I went in with very high expectations. You know when you have a movie that you really, really want to see, but you're kind of holding off for a rainy day because you know you're going to have to invest your like full attention into it? To me, that was Parasite, and thankfully I got to watch it while flying back to California, and man, it made it that much better for me. I don't like flying, but it just destroyed the time of flying that trip because I was just so heavily invested into this movie, and it was easy for me to just pay attention. So I'm glad I saved it for one of those quote-unquote rainy days. But the last fact we have here is, in the trailer, one of the monitors at the cloning facility briefly flashes, Mickey 1 was never found. Fans have speculated, was he truly lost? Or was something more sinister at play? Yeah, so those are the fun facts of this movie. Let's dive into the comment section. At Levitt Lame said, I feel like Pattinson and Radcliffe were given the exact same advice. Do your huge money book series, then have some fun doing every genre you can with a bunch of absurdly weird movies. So when he mentions, I mean, this is why I love doing this like part, because it just goes on fresh perspectives. I would have never thought I would have seen something about Daniel Radcliffe in the comment section of this movie, since he's not even in this movie. That's why I like the comment section concept, because like that is just a great comparison. Like, if you think about like absurdly weird movies, you immediately go to Swiss Army Man, which a very, very, very underrated movie. I know a lot of people didn't like understand it, or a lot of people just thought it was stupid, but the underlying theme of that movie was like spectacular. I believe, I haven't seen it in a while, but I believe it's about like coming into yourself and just accepting who you are as a person. Like, obviously it was like, there was very weird incidents in that movie, but I thought it was a gem. I thought it was a really good movie. If you just judged it based on the trailer, you probably wouldn't have watched it at all. But going in with an open mind, it turned out to be a very, very like great artistic vision of a movie. And then that's not where the comparisons end. Like, they were both in Harry Potter. I mean, one was shorter than the other. My boy. But they were both in Harry Potter, so there's another comparison. Also, we know Robert Pattinson was Batman, who is a superhero. Who else was in talks to be a superhero? Was that Daniel Radcliffe as Wolverine? Yeah, there were talks about that back in the day. So like, the comparisons of that is just, it's crazy, but it's not too crazy. It makes sense, and I just love that. This is my favorite comment. But my second favorite comment goes to @Dr_Ozone. It's so disappointing that Hollywood just keeps popping out sequels. Wasn't Mickey 1 through 16 enough? Dude, that is hilarious, and I love that comment, and it's hilarious. Like, it's true, because like, I mean, it's obviously not, this is not a sequel, but it's true in the fact that Hollywood does keep pumping out remakes, and then just like the fact that Mickey17 is the name of this movie. Obviously there's 16 others. It's a hilarious comment. Love it. That brings us to @Alexander-ES4MX. Robert Pattinson has got to be one of the best actors working right now. His range is insane. I agree. I first saw this dude on Twilight, and I wasn't there because I wanted to be. I was there because I was in a relationship and I was spending quality time with a person I cared about. And that meant having to sit through Twilight movies. Okay, The first one I had to sit through. The second one I was like, well, I might as well see what happens next. And then the third one I was like, I might as well like see what happens next. And then the fourth or the Breaking Dawn part 1, I was like, I might as well see what happens next. And then the last one, I might as well finish it. I've invested this much time. I might as well finish the movie. And I'm just so happy that the fight scene, it was a dream. It was a dream, so that was very disappointing, but at least it happened. At least we got to see it on the big screen. I'm glad they did that, and it wasn't just like some like little cut scene or something small. So yeah, I didn't love it, but at least I got to see what I was waiting for the whole time. That fight scene alone was worth it. So yes, we saw Robert Pattinson in Twilight. He was also a voice actor in The Boy and the Heron, so he's in Studio Ghibli too. Also, very, very fantastic performance in the movie The Lighthouse with Willem Dafoe. And then one of my personal favorite underrated movies, Water for Elephants. Dude, that was when I believe that was like one of the first movies he did coming out of Twilight. I could be wrong about that, but after seeing that movie, I was like, okay, I like Robert Pattinson. And that was a very like serious drama role for him. Whereas, I mean, I guess Twilight was kind of a drama role too, but this was like more about like, I guess, realistic drama. But it was just a great movie. Highly recommend that movie. If you're looking at like for a good cry, an emotional like movie that's gonna like tug your heartstrings, Water for Elephants is gonna be that movie for you. And then he also played Batman when he was first introduced to be Batman. There was a lot of like negative reviews. Obviously, we think of them as a scrawny vampire, glowing vampire from Twilight, but I don't know. I thought he was like, if anyone like random that you would choose could do it, I thought he was a great choice for that, and he definitely was. He played that role really well. He gave us a different version of Bruce Wayne that we hadn't really seen before. Like, we always see Bruce Wayne as this confident like playboy guy, and this was like the more introverted, silent, quiet kind of like, yes, he had more moments of being more outgoing, but this was definitely a version of Batman that we hadn't seen before, and I thought he played it well. I love his version of Batman, and I'm a Robert Pattinson fan, not gonna lie. And that brings us to the last comment by @KonuOkanata8694. It's Bong Joon-Ho to me. Not only Parasite, but all his works are amazing. This is going to be a wild adventure. Yeah, Okja and Snowpiercer are on my to-watch list, but Parasite was it was a brilliant movie for me. I rated that movie a 10 out of 10, and it's just, I would love to go to like rewatch that movie again, just like maybe project it on the wall so I can get like the theater experience, but it was such a great movie, and I just remember thinking like, wow, that was like one of the best movies I've seen in a while. So we have the right director at the helm. Can he keep it going? Well, let's see if he can, because now we're going up to the over-under. So last week I had the Monkey going over 7.3, and it hit way under. It was a 6.6 by the time I checked it this morning. So I'm going to be 0-1 on the season, which if you want to see that review, I'd change it up a little bit. I'm going to do my reviews on YouTube, just as shorts, like a quick 2-minute review, and that's just going to change things a little bit for me. So I'm going to do more of the pre-games on the podcast, and then the reviews I'll have as like quick little YouTube short. However, if I do get more people like for the review part, I'll keep it a little bit longer and probably put it as the podcast episode, just so I can gain like fresh perspectives on it. So I'm going to be 0-1 on the season. This movie is a little different because it already has an IMDb rating with a 711 votes. It's currently sitting at a 7.4, but that seems a little low to me, so I'm going to personally change it to a 8. So the line for this one is if I think it's going to go over or under an 8 score on IMDb. I still think that's going to be an easy over. Like if we look at Parasite ended with an 8.5, which is, I think, it's still too low. I think that movie is like, I think it's a 10, but I can understand like if it's like a 9 or 9.1. 8.5 seems way too low, and maybe that's just for people who didn't like to who didn't want to read, or maybe it's just people who didn't like. I don't know. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a great movie. It had me on the edge of my seat. I was like, whoa, is this going to be a horror movie? Is this going to be like, it's a comedy? Is this like, it just had a little bit of everything, and the acting was fantastic. The ending was just so crazy and chaotic, and just, oh man, I love that movie. But regardless, I'm 0-1. This seems like an easy over for me, so I'm going to say it's going to be over 8. I'm just going to project like an 8.2. With that being said, at the end of season 2 of this podcast, the over-under record will come into play. What does that mean? I don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying, just a little foreshadowing there. So the record currently, as it stands, I'm 0-1, looking to go 1-1 with this win over for this movie going over 8. But that's going to bring me to final thoughts. I know I hyped up The Monkey, but I genuinely thought it was going to be a banger. And you know, some people thought it was. Some people thought it was a great movie. Some people really enjoyed it. Some people thought it was a banger. But not for me. I just go watch the review if you want to know what I thought about that movie. I didn't hate it, but I also didn't love it. That being said, I love Parasite. I thought it was very symbolic, very thought-provoking, very dark, and yet beautifully crafted movie. And it was like outside of the norm of what we're used to. And it was just a great film. Like, again, I can't recommend that film enough. Go watch that movie if you haven't seen it yet. You know when you like want to watch a movie, but you're kind of putting it off because you know it's going to be a good movie, but you also have to invest your like full attention and focus onto it. For me, someone who struggles to pay attention to something like for a long period of time, I typically pause the movie, get up and go do something, and then like we'll have to come back to it. And I don't want to do that with a movie that I know is going to be really good. So it kind of involves a bigger investment from me. But that was one of those movies. Interstellar is still on that list. So I still got to watch Interstellar, which I hear a lot of good things about. But yeah, dude, Parasite, I just cannot hype that movie up enough. I highly recommend that. I think that with this cast, the concept, and Bong Joon-Ho's directing at the helm, I think we're in for yet another banger. I'm just gonna ask you this question: when is it too soon to talk about movie of the year? I don't know. This looks like it could be movie of the year. I mean, last season I thought it was gonna be If was gonna be one of the movies. No, actually, I mean last season I thought it was gonna be Fall Guy, which was like a typical like Hollywood big bang action kind of movie, and it wasn't. Like it was still a good movie, but it wasn't like the movie of the year. But this movie looks like it could definitely be in that category, and with the actors that it has on deck. And with the director Bong Joon-Ho at the helm, I think this could be a very, very top tier, top 3 movie of the year. But those are my thoughts. What do y'all think? Do you think this will be a masterpiece, or do you think it's going to be too weird to be good? I love to know what you guys think about it. Just let me know. Let's keep the conversation going. If you go watch it, let me know what you think. I'll probably post a review of this movie on YouTube as a quick movie review in under 2. And as always, thanks for listening to Hurry, the movie is starting. God bless and have a great day.